Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. So Allah continues to say, أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ أَفَلَا يُؤْمِنُونَ أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, that do those who disbelieve, do they not see? Yara, to see. أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْض, that the samawat, the seven heavens, and the earth, كَانَتَا, they used to be رَتْقًا, they used to be closed, they used to be one mass. فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا, and we opened them, or we split them apart. وَجَعَلْنَا, and we made مِنَ الْمَاءِ, from water, كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ, every single living thing. So we made, Allah is saying, we have made every single living thing from water. أَفَلَا يُؤْمِنُونَ, so will they then not believe? The signs of Allah in the heavens and the earth and in the night and the day. The next passage is all about the signs of Allah. And if you go over it, what is an ayah? What does an ayah mean? First and foremost, it is a sign. What is a sign? Something that leads to something, or something that you recognize something with. So if you look at human beings, when you have to sign a form, why do you sign that form? What is that signature for? Identified as your signature. Signature is basically the full word of sign. So an ayah is something that you use to recognize someone. So an ayah in this case, a verse from the Qur'an, is used to recognize who Allah is. Which is why the ulama, they say that every single ayah of the Qur'an goes to Tawheed. From the shortest of ayahs to the longest of ayahs, every single ayah, the essence of it is Tawheed, for you to recognize who Allah is. There are multiple types of ayahs in the Qur'an. Of them is who Allah is, describing who Allah is, maybe one of His names or attributes, or what He loves, or the command to worship Him alone upon Tawheed, or the prohibition of something that displeases Him, and also the rewards and punishments. So the rewards for those who obey, and the punishments for those who disobey. And you also have certain ayah, which is qissa, stories, narratives from the past. What happened to those in the past who disobeyed, how they were destroyed. What will happen to them in the future in the akhirah. What happened to those in the past who obeyed, and how Allah supported them. And what will happen to them in the future when they are put into Jannah. So all of that, every single ayah of the Qur'an calls to Tawheed in one way or the other. And then when you look at creation, Allah says, إِنَّ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ لَآيَاتٍ, in the creation, the functionality and the maintenance and sustenance of the heavens and the earth is signs, or are signs, لَآيَاتٍ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ, for those who have Imaan, or for those who believe. And so when you look at the creation of Allah, and Allah will tell you time and time and again, look at the creation. Just ponder over the creation, no matter how much you know of the Qur'an. Even if you've been listening to this for the past 100 years, and your beard's gone white, mashallah, tabarakallah. When Allah says, look at the signs of the heavens and the earth, you stop and you ponder. Because at that moment, if you do so, you'll be increased in Iman and in Yaqeen. And that is the way to be increased in Iman and Yaqeen. Because that's the way Allah gave you in the Qur'an. If you go to Surah Jathiyah, إِنَّ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ لَآيَاتٍ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ, meaning if you want Iman, because these are signs for al-mu'mineen, those who have true Iman. If you want true Iman, you look at the signs of the heavens and the earth. وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ, if you look at the alternation of the night and the day. وَمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مِنْ رِزْقٍ, and what Allah sends down of rizq from the skies. وَتَصْرِيفِ الرِّيَاحِ, and the way the winds blow, and the way the earth is brought back to life. All of this are signs, لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمِ يَعْقِلُونَ, for those who can use their brains. Meaning, if you want your aql to open up, if you want to polish your memory, if you want your memory to become sharp, if you want to have sound intellect, then you need to be looking at these signs of Allah. And Allah says, look at how Allah unleashed all the animals upon the earth. Look at how we all have, how we all live. آيَاتُ لِقَوْمِ يُوقِنُونَ, and these are signs for those who have yaqeen and for those who want to have yaqeen. وَفِي خَلْقِكُمْ, so in your creation. If you look at the creation of the human being, sooner or later you will come to yaqeen. وَمَا يَبُثُّ مِن دَابَّةٍ آيَاتٌ لِقَوْمٍ يُوقِنُونَ. And what Allah has unleashed upon the earth of animals. And so whenever Allah says, look at the signs, you stop and you look and you ponder and you think, then you'll be increased in Iman and Yaqeen. Many of the people, they think, you know what, okay, let's be increased in Iman and in Yaqeen, and then they talk about other than the signs of Allah. When Allah said, no, you want Iman, you want Yaqeen, you follow the Qur'anic methodology. How are you going to get it? Have not those who disbelieve known, means those who deny His divine nature, those who deny the existence of Allah, those who actually commit shirk, those who worship other than Allah, all manner of kufr and shirk. Do they not realize that Allah is the one who is independent in His powers of creation and is running all of the affairs of all things with absolute power? And this again refers now, the previous ayah we went over, لَوْ كَانَ فِيهِمَا آلِهَةٌ إِلَّا اللَّهُ لَفَسَدَتَا. That if there was more than one creator or ilah or controller in the heavens, or just in general, what would have happened to the heavens and the earth? لَفَسَدَتَا. Chaos, corruption. Why? Because there would be two opposing wills. When there's two opposing wills, what happens? Corruption. We gave the example of the sun. Let's say if there's two wills. One wills for the sun to rise from the east. The other one wants it to rise from the south. What's going to happen to it? It's going to end up disobeying one, meaning the one that it disobeyed, that's the one whose will was overcome. Again, we use the example, can you have two opposing wills in one household? No. What happens? Divorce.
No.
Fights, arguments, divorces. Which is why Allah, He raised one over the other, so that one has to follow the other. It's hikmah. And so when you look at the creation of the heavens and the earth, Allah says in Surah Mulk, that do you see any cracks above you? If you look at the skies, do you see any cracks? Ask yourself the question, have you ever tried to see, do you see any breaks? Do you see any flaws? Do you see any defects? Or do you just see it perfect? Now if there were two opposing wills or multiple gods, would it be perfect? No. At some point it would end up breaking. Like we said, because one would want something and then sooner or later the other would want a different thing. That's the first thing. When you look at how everything in creation is flawless, that leads you to the natural answer, the only rational and logical answer, that there's only one creator and He is in complete control. Yudabbirul amr. He arranges every single affair. Nothing happens except that Ar-Rabb is the one who has commanded it to happen. That's the first thing you're looking for, and that's the first thing you need to realize when you're looking at the signs, the ayat, and you're looking at the creation of Allah. So how can it be appropriate to worship anything else besides Him, or to associate anything other with Him in creation? So أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا. Do they not see that the heavens and the earth were joined together as one united piece, and then we parted them? Do they not see that the heavens and the earth were joined together? So in the beginning they were all one piece. This alludes to the Big Bang Theory, but just because science says Big Bang Theory, we don't confirm it. It can be whatever it wants. However, Allah says that they were all one piece. They were all one united piece, and then Allah is the one who caused them to split. So again, you can refer to this as the Big Bang Theory, and then that would just be another thing. They, according to science, say Big Bang. We say no, Allah told us 1444 years ago that فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا. He's the one who did it. Chemicals coming together and then boom. That's what they say, right? And they'll come up with all nonsense. Where did it come from? It just continues going, and it's just an infinite, regress. That's what they call it, the infinite regress. Who created this? Who created that? And then you get to Allah. Then they'll say, oh, who created Allah? And this is actually one of the tricks of shaitan. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that shaitan will come to you and he'll ask you, who created the world and everything else? And you'll say, Allah. Then shaitan will make you question, okay, then who created Allah? At that point, you just say, Amantu billah, I believe in Allah. And he runs away. You say, La ilaha illallah. Because again, clear proof for any person with a brain who can actually use their head that it does not make sense for there to be nothing. For everything to come into existence by chance. And then for everything to function correctly, for the orbit to happen consistently day in and day out for the past how long, way before you and I were even born. and nothing went wrong with it, it's impossible for there to be it is impossible for it to, or just come by chance, basically. It's impossible. So, أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا. So they were all one piece, attached to one another. They were piled on top of one another. And then He separated it from one another. And He made the heavens 7. And He made the earth 7. So 7 heavens, 7 earths. Placing the air between the earth and the heaven, and the lowest heaven. Then He caused the rain to fall from the sky. So وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. And from that water, all the vegetation, they started to grow from the earth. And today, science confirms that every single creature is made up of water. Majority of the percentage in the human body, for example, is water. But again, we don't need science to tell us, because the Qur'an already informed us of this. Every single thing was created. The origin of every single creation is water. Simple. Allah said so, done. أَفَلَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. So we have made from water every living thing. Will they then not believe? How hard is it? Meaning that they see with their own eyes how the creation develops step by step. All of that is proof of the existence of the Creator, the one who is in control of it. So then how is it then that they still don't believe in that Creator and they associate partners with Him, or they disobey Him? How is it so? How many Muslims do we have today? We say La ilaha illallah, but we do everything other than obey Allah. How is that? If by looking at the creation of the heavens and the earth, you can come to the basic answer of believing in Allah, of having Imaan in Allah. Belief, Imaan, is not just to have faith. Right? Many of us, we translate as Iman as faith, to have faith in Allah. Meaning when you're going through a tough time, have faith in Allah. But belief is a lot deeper than that. Belief is Aqidah. Aqidah is the foundation of Iman. So if you think of Iman as a tree, the roots of that tree is Aqidah, of belief. You have the correct belief in Allah. You have the correct knowledge of Tawheed in Allah. And if you're disobedient, or let's say if your Iman is weak, or you're not offering your Salah, you're not fulfilling the obligations of Allah upon you, then the simple answer is that your knowledge of Tawheed is broken. And you need to study. That's the simple answer. So the question to how is it then many Muslims also are, they end up disobeying Allah and they don't care about it? The simple answer is Iman is something that increases and decreases. There's certain sects in Islam that actually claims Iman never changes. You can commit the major sins, your Iman will not decrease. Your Iman will be the same as Abu Bakr Siddiq, even if you commit the major sins. May Allah protect us from such things. But the basic truth is, Iman increases and Iman decreases. When you do a righteous deed, what is an amalun salih? It's not just a good deed, but it's a good deed that is prescribed in the Qur'an and the Sunnah. Now for something to be salih, righteous, number one, it has to be ikhlas, solely for Allah. If you do something for the people, that's not ikhlas, that's not salih. And second, it has to conform to the Sunnah. Meaning if you're now committing bid'ah and think it's going to increase your Iman, it's not going to do that. Two basic requirements for an action to be righteous, for an action to be salih: ikhlas and Sunnah. May Allah grant us all ikhlas and the ability to follow the Qur'an and the Sunnah correctly.